guys. I'm gonna wait a minute while you guys, come join me, because I've had a couple of reflective moments just today alone that I wanted to bring up to you, just to see if my level of comprehension and understanding is there, and if I'm able to express it freely with others, because I want to make sure that my ego is not taking into place. So I want to talk about expressing sense of self, and I want to talk about whether it's important to be able to know when to be selfish and know when not to be selfish, and know what exactly that consists of. And I think that has a lot to do with mindfulness. Some will say manners, but then that has to do with how you're raised and our parents' ideologies, which might not be correct. So I'm going to give you guys some examples on what happened to me today. And hopefully you guys can give me some reflection on it, because it really irked me. And I don't get irked very easily. So I'm in the gym, right? I'm in the gym and I'm sitting in the sauna in the gym. And I'm dead ass. I'm sitting there, crisscross applesauce, breathing very loudly, doing meditations. I am in the sauna, very, very in my Zen zone. And some lady, dead ass, sits next to me and starts making phone calls and starts talking on the phone and chilling. And in that moment, I'm practicing meditation. So part of my practice is to be able to ignore my surroundings that are, distracting. Part of my meditation is assessing the distractions and allowing them to pass. And every moment that I would take a deep breath and assess the situation, she would go quiet, and I think the conversation was over. And then again, she would just start talking and I'm just okay, am I being selfish by getting frustrated right now? Am I not being selfish? Should I not be getting frustrated? Should she have been more mindful of the fact that I was sitting there meditating and that you don't make phone calls in the fucking sauna? That was my thought process. So then I started feeling guilty, because then I'm damn, I'm shit talking this lady in my mind, but maybe it's an important phone call, because it was also in a different language. So I cannot justify the phone call. But it could have been an important phone call. It could have been her son that she hasn't talked to in years. So now I'm over here reflecting on that situation, and not only did I stress myself out by allowing myself to be erratic and emotional internally, by allowing her to frustrate me, but this lady has no idea. And now I feel guilty because I assumed all this stuff that may not be true about this woman in the sauna. So that's that. And then here I am making sandwiches, and I was going to go get Publix subs because I'm going to the beach, but my friend is a vegetarian, right? She's a vegetarian, and I am not. And I was going to go get pub subs, and I know that she's the type of vegetarian that she'll eat turkey, whatever. She'll do it. But I walked into the store with the approach of I don't give a fuck, I'm getting whatever, and that's it. But then I was you know what? Why not? Whatever. So I'm making vegetarian sandwiches. And is that an act of me being selfless? Or is that being me selfish because now I'm being selfish because I'm going to make her happy? Or this morning I sent my sister flowers because I knew that she was having a bad day. But I knew that if I sent her flowers, it would make her happy. And then thus me making her happy, I am happy. So where is that fine line between being selfish and being selfless? And is there a fine line? Is there a difference between our actions and the mindfulness of the things that we do? Does being mindful change our actions? Does being mindful make us the situation differently if you were to approach it in a way that would only satisfy you? What's the answer? And I don't think there is an answer. I think that, I don't know. I only think what I know and what I do, and I know that I try my hardest to be mindful of my actions, and selfishly, I go out of my way to make other people happy because that brings me joy. So by me being selfless and me being a giver, I am receiving, but then also then comes the part where should you be selfish in terms of your own feelings? Could you pursue an act, assess that your feelings for the situation are greater than the situation at hand. Therefore, you're being selfish and choosing to handle the situation selfishly for your own greater good by compromising someone's thoughts. Now, is that selfish, or is that just being self-aware and knowing your worth? And then in the same retrospect, you can still justify that, because if you take the justification and say, well, by me addressing my feelings first, selfishly, I am counteracting the possibility of the extension of turmoil if the situation is not addressed then. So is that selfishness or selflessness? There is no answer. I think that at the end of the day, you need to do whatever makes you happy. Whatever that may be. I think that being consciously aware and being mindful of yourself and those around you is important. But at the end of the day, if it's not lighting that fire in your soul that you're searching for, or if it's creating a fire in your soul that you're uncomfortable with, you need to choose for yourself what it is that it is, and then let go of it. And I think that's how you pursue happiness, selflessness, and all around love for yourself. Because once you start to have unconditional love for yourself and are selfless for yourself, then you can then understand that other people are also people, and then be mindful, and then be able to execute selfishly, selflessly. Because once you start to be selfless for yourself, you can become selfless for others, because now you can understand how those think and feel. And sometimes there's sacrifices that need to be made. Sometimes the situation is not going to be the way that you perceived it to be. And that's okay too. I think I just answered my own question by talking with you guys. The topic of conversation is selfless and selfishness and mindfulness, and how they all go in hand, and whether being selfish and being selfless accumulate to the same center meeting, because both bring us joy depending on the decisions that we make if we're mindful of our own thoughts. This is awesome. I love that I have 5 people still watching me. I also love that none of you are interacting with me. This new thing I'm trying, where I'm trying to get people to interact with me. I did see someone say that I was an overthinker. I don't think necessarily that it is overthinking. I necessarily think that it's learning. I think it's becoming mindful. I think it's acknowledging what my thoughts are, why I feel these thoughts, how I feel these thoughts, and how I handle them. And do I handle them in a way that is going to bestow upon me what it is that is going to be best for me, if that makes sense. So once I know how I feel and how I think and how my body and thoughts correspond with the reality of the things, and I'm mindful of them, then I can start to be mindful of the way other people think. Because at the end of the day, even though we're all one special, unique person and individual, we're not that different, because we do think similar thoughts and we do have similar stresses. So if you can execute mastering your own thoughts and mindfulness, then you can start to do that for other people and live this great life of understanding and open-mindedness. And that's how I feel.